Good evening and welcome to Armour All qualifying live and exclusive to Fox Sports for the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series. We've got a double dose of Michigan International Speedway coming your way tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jonathan, we are throwing a completely new curveball at these drivers with a huge Armour All qualifying lineup and a big 31 car field.
Certainly, we loved Charlotte, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? Now we visit ovals for a second time. We've got an all-new format for Armour All qualifying. Never had duels today, and we're going to have two of them upcoming after our Armour All qualifying session.
Yeah, they act like heat races, very similar to what they do at Daytona with the duels there, sorting out the grid for qualifying. Unlike Daytona, the Armour All pole sitter from the first qualifying session does not start on the front row. You have to race for every single position out there. So racing and qualifying essentially, which is really cool. Like I said, 31 drivers joining the fun tonight, 5 wildcards, and already the action has started at pit exit. Damage is off, so have at it. 10 minutes on the Armour All qualifying clock. Shane van Gisbergen has moved back to Australia from New Zealand. Here he is. Good to finally confirm that he's SVG ready to go. And he is your BP Ultimate points leader. Took that off Scott McLaughlin and has been expanding that points lead. Could tonight be the wild card night that swings it back in Scott McLaughlin's favour? It was an oval that turned it around on him 2 weeks ago.
Certainly did. He did fare well, though, did Shane van Gisbergen there. So I don't know if that will happen to him tonight. Ovals do have a bit of a luck factor involved, which could come into play. No damage, though, which will save him just a little bit. But you do need as much skill as you require at a road course compared to an oval. So don't expect the likes of your front runners to just pop out in P20 unless they don't get a draft here in this open qualifying session. And the other thing, Chad, is it won't be as much of a lottery too, because we do have duels to sort out later on, which sort out the grid. So if you muck up this session in qualifying, you still get to race for your grid slot.
We'll explain how those duels work a little bit later on, but we've got some important wildcards to welcome up to the plate. It's the Monster Energy car, but it's the co-driver at the wheel. Michael Caruso making his first appearance in the BP Ultimate All-Stars Arena tonight. So welcome to Michael Caruso. Could have the green wheels looking very ominous. Early times coming through, and it was Rick Kelly tucked in behind him. He goes to the top with a 39.82, and Zane Goddard eclipsing that now with SVG, the new leader, and it's going to be like this for the next 10 minutes, so we'll just give it a rest for a second. But Shane van Gisbergen on top with a 39.39 second lap.
So track around Michigan, it's a 2-mile oval, 3.2 kilometers depending on your units of choice. Now compared to Charlotte, there is 18 degrees of banking through the corners here compared to 24 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. On the front stretch at Michigan, you've got 12 degrees of banking to help, which really helps you come out of this corner, turn 4. But coming out of turn 2, you pick up so much understeer that you really push up into the wall, which can be a struggle. And that's what the drivers face, is the challenge. If you're stuck behind another driver, Chad, you've got aero wash to deal with, but you've also got a draft that will play to your advantage, because the best lap time you can score without a draft is a low 40-second time. We see all these 39-second times come in. You cannot beat that without a draft.
Here comes Aaron Seton in the Ripco Racing number 66. Essentially a satellite operator tonight with the Shell V-Power Racing team. He's been a mechanic there for quite a few years at DJR Team Penske, third-generation driver. Has some speedway experience. I've seen him race at Archerfield on a few different nights. Made that switch up to circuit racing over the last few years. Reigning Australian Trans Am champion, very capable peddler. Toyota 86 racer as well. Can he send himself up towards the top? Jordan Boys, another one of our wild cards, has just popped into third spot. And that's pretty fitting for the Image Racing team. If you know the background of that team, owned by Terry Wahoon. Terry Wahoon was an oval track racer in a BP car care, Thunderbird no less. So continuing that theme on, McLaughlin now goes into the top 3, so that's important for him as well. A few more wildcards to watch out for. A slight difference in the livery of Rick Kelly gives us Christian Lundgaard. So welcome Christian, racing from Europe tonight. And this is a connection that's been formed through Andre Heimgartner, who had a crack at the Formula 1 E-Series. Christian is a junior driver with the Renault F1 team and moving up through the ranks.
And have a look at your 2 Erebus cars for Penrite Racing. David Reynolds, Anton de Pasquale just climbed into the top 5. Jack LeBrock splits them though. As I say that, Lee Holdsworth, we always know he's been a qualifying specialist, has become a race specialist after his impressive performance for round 8 up in a second. This is important for McLaughlin, Chad, because remember at Charlotte, he just never found a draft. But today, it looks like he sorted himself out early in the session, eases the pressure off for our 2-time Supercars champ.
So Mad Mike Witt joins a very busy pit lane at the moment. He's a drift sensation. Had the honour of standing watching this guy go through the South Circuit at City Motorsport Park. It is wild. He's got some of the coolest sounding cars in the world. He's also got a pretty cool sim setup at home with his son as well. That's where he's racing from over in New Zealand tonight. The only driver in the field in New Zealand now is Shane Van Gisbergen, has made the trip back to Australia. Todd Hazelwood, still got that brute military grade number 14. Todd is a little bit down the order in 21st at the moment.
There's a huge wreck, by the way. You can see a few of the cars. Yeah.
How cool does this brute military grade livery look on this car as well? Part of a 4-car operation at Brad Jones Racing. And Todd has been getting some excellent results in this car. Very fast at Bathurst, really fast in all the American ovals. And that is a sweet looking Commodore.
He'd be sweating now, though, so he'd need some of the brute. 21st, strikes the wall as well. And as usual, like we said every round, striking the wall will delete your lap time, as will any contact with the car too. So Hazelwood will have to pull it into the pit. So the tyres here last a good 1 or 2 laps, but it'll be interesting come lap 3 or 4, where the rear end really steps out on you. You pick up a lot of oversteer, whether or not you can still set pole position. Let's see what the time is for Chaz Mostert here as he comes across the line.
Straight to second. Great lap time from Chaz. So shooting up the order nicely in the Mobil 1 appliances on lane car. And was desperate to get the thing stopped so he could escape, and it was the worst time to cop a whack from behind because it stops you from getting back into the pits. Alex Davison in the local Legends car now. One of a range of drivers to have their best qualifying performance on an oval when we went to Charlotte. 9 drivers in the field had their very best qualifying performance of the season at Charlotte. 8 of those 9 outside the top 10. So it is a huge wild card of a track to go to, racing on these ovals, which is why we see such huge swings in the points as well. 3 races tonight, 300 points up for grabs. And they're all chasing Shane Van Gisbergen, who's cleared out to about 150 points ahead of the field.
Jamie Whincup's been pretty impressive on the ovals, at least at Charlotte, Chad. Remember, he talked about struggling to find practice time for the sim. He's trying to get back into real racing. Here we watch our 7-time Supercars champ. That's a wacky looking wheel, by the way. So we watch a bit of side drafting going on here between a few of our wild cards and a few of our regular series drivers. I think 1 car on its roof, by the way. But Chad, what I was trying to say before was for Whincup, because he struggled with braking on the sim, he struggled to get that feel like we were discussing earlier. That's why he's so quick around the oval. So I really feel like Whincup will be up there for the victory.
That is a new livery on the face of Cam Waters that I've not seen before. I like it. He's looking a bit Chopper-esque. I like this new look for Cam Waters. And I am going to publicly dare him to keep that on for Sydney. Let's see if Cam Waters is going to bring that to the real world environment. That is a good look. He looks like Rob Whittaker, the UFC fighter, actually, with that. He loves his mixed martial arts.
I've got a lot to say, and I won't say it. I'm trying to open my mouth, and I'm like, no, can't say that. Next thing, can't say that.
Okay, what do we got here? We've got a few of the Matt Stone Racing drivers teeing up late in the session. The yellow cover is Gary Jacobson. Desperately unlucky to have a power surge last week.
Yeah.
At the worst time possible. I think Mum turned the kettle on, and that was enough to kill the house, which is a real shame. A lot of people in the industry offering him some gear to get back on track, and this is a huge field of cars and a big bulk amount of cars coming out of the pits as well.
Now, the reason, because look at the time left on screen. You're only going to get 1 more lap in. These drivers are on their final run. A lot of them have struck the wall, and they're going to pull it back into the lane. Remember, it's not as critical to get the best lap time. Your odd numbers go into duel number 1. Your even numbers go into duel 2, and we'll get a bit of a feel for how the racing action will take place later today. Shane Van Gisbergen, or is it his cat? We don't know.
Well, finally,
he's up in pole position.
Finally, we've had eyes on SVG tonight. Can confirm it's him.
Very odd-looking cat when we looked at him. And so, like I said, the tyres last 1 lap here, so you want to get the draft on this single lap. 30 seconds remaining.
The good news for Christian Lundgaard, he's only 6/10 off pole. The bad news for our wildcard, that is only good enough for 29th. 6/10 covering just about the entire field. Aaron Seton is back there as well, desperate to get a lap in, as we are about to click over into the checkered flag and the last few seconds of Armour All qualifying. Is Shane Van Gisbergen going to add another Armour All pole to the list? Someone in the fence in the background.
Here we go, checkered flag out for, well no, Van Gisbergen can get another run. He's just crossed the line there, Chad, with a couple of seconds. But Gary Jacobson was the driver spun around for Matt Stone Racing. Holdsworth put it into the pits. Anton de Pasquale's in the pits too.
This is either going to work really well or really badly for Shane Van Gisbergen down the back straight. A ton of cars flying through the air and sliding up the racetrack, and still he's full noise to turn 3. Sector times. Doesn't look at the moment that he's going to eclipse that time, and that'll just about ruin it as he gets crossed up in turn 3. Bit of payback at turn 4, and that'll set our Armour All qualifying order, but not the grid. Couldn't quite find his way through the traffic, but he does get the stat as Barney frantically waves the checkers to end Armour All qualifying.
There he is. Barney.
He doesn't care. He's going to wave that flag until the sun goes down. That is your Armour All qualifying results. Shane Van Gisbergen and Chaz Mostert mastering the banks of Michigan International Speedway. Lee Holdsworth has his best result. Ditto that, Dave Reynolds. Jack LeBrock, 3rd at Charlotte, 5th here. He's an oval specialist. Anton de Pasquale, maybe his worst qualifying result so far this year. Scott McLaughlin was outside the 20 last time on an oval. He's gone straight back up inside. Jordan Boys, one of our wildcard entrants tonight, in 12th position. They've still got a chance, though, to race up the field when we get through to the duels later today. James Courtney outside the 20. Look how tight this is. 0.4 of a second. Scott Pye off the pole leaves him 25th. He's got a lot of work to do when he lines up in his duel. Christian Lundgaard, 29th. Aaron Seton and Chris Pither unlucky not to get some laps in. But we can award the Armour All Pole Award once again to Shane Van Gisbergen, just racking them up. His first one since Daytona. And he has been really quick against the clock, making up for what happened last week. Just couldn't quite sneak in that last lap, getting caught up with Christian Lundgaard, our wildcard entry tonight. Who on earth was that flying through the sky? I'm not too sure, but that's what qualifying looks like thanks to Armour All. And we're going to be really excited to see what these duels are going to look like when we kick into that next. We're going to split the field in half, race for the inside row, race for the outside row. It's similar to what they do at Daytona, and that's going to be coming up very soon here. Don't go anywhere.
You can support your favourite team or driver during the VP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. Purchase your Supercars Championship or team merchandise today. Head to supercars.com/merch. Congratulations to this week's Local Legends winner. You could also win weekly prizes across the Supercars All-Stars E-Series, including your own Local Legends simulator valued at over $10,000. To enter, share a photo holding a Local Legends pack on your Instagram or the Local Legends Facebook page with the hashtag #WinWithLocalLegends to go into the draw to win.
Tonight of Super Speedway for the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series. This is Armour All qualifying, and we're about to get into the duels. And the man who has secured another Armour All Pole Award for the season is Shane Van Gisbergen. We're going to check in with him right now. It's good to see you, Shane. I guess we can finally say that. And welcome back, buddy. You're back on this side of the Tasman. Good evening to you.
Yeah, hey guys. That was really cool. Pretty cool in the oval, but yeah, good to be back in Australia. Pretty lucky to be able to quarantine at home, but I'm all set up. It's been a mad rush getting all my sim going, getting all the signage, learning how to do the Twitch thing. I'm on that Twitch trying to get that going, but hey, it's a bit of fun, and had a bit of pressure on there to do well, so the people didn't keep thinking it was me cat or whatever they're on about. Feels really good.
The biggest change, I guess, obviously not being in Auckland anymore, but totally new sim gear. What's that change been like, hopping straight onto the new stuff?
Yeah, it's been all right. I had a couple of days and just a fair few things, like the pedals are not very good. I've had to update them. I got some other ones, and it's just time getting used to it. Obviously, I had a fair bit of time in New Zealand getting used to that sim and spending so much time on it. So yeah, not much to do here in quarantine. So yeah, we're all set up good, and hopefully the races go well as well.
Yeah, a bit of a different format tonight with the duels. Do you like that or loathe that?
It doesn't matter what I think. You got to get used to it and do what we think. Would have been nice to do a better track, more than one with two left-handers, but the racing will be epic. The battles will be awesome. I reckon it's going to be really cool.
Well done, mate. You're a killer at Charlotte, and you'll no doubt be strong tonight. Go get him. And welcome back to Australia. Very cool to have Shane Van Gisbergen here. We'll switch it over to Zane Goddard as well. Zane, 8th for you in the Matt Stone Racing car. Are you pretty happy with that Armor qualifying performance?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Like, I didn't get much time to do much testing this week just because I've been moving house, but no, it's been really good. Yeah, I actually enjoy the ovals. They're a bit more simple, but no, they're good.
So that should put you out of 4th for this duel. How do you think the duel's going to go?
I think it's going to be pretty chaotic. Like, everyone knows there's no points on the line. Everyone wants to start at the front. So, yeah, I probably chose the wrong time to get a good qualifying result.
That's unlucky. All right, well, you've still got a chance to maybe even get yourself onto the front row. Best of luck for tonight.
Exactly.
All right, how will they line up on the truck assist grid for the first of our duels? Half the field are heading out there for the first race, and they are going to line up like this. Shane Van Gisbergen and Lee Holdsworth on the front row. Great performance from the Tickford Star. He's got a buddy in Jack LeBrock who's been quick on the ovals. Scott McLaughlin didn't have a great run at Charlotte. There is Jake Kostecki, so fighting out of 5th for this one with Jamie Whincup alongside him. So a pair of Red Bulls up the front. There's Todd Hazelwood and Gary Jacobson. Gary's resurgence of late has been quick. Good news is there'll be a teammate there in Nick Percat for Todd Hazelwood and Rick Kelly. Alex Davison coming out of 12th alongside James Courtney in the Boost Mobile Mustang, so the 4th of the Tickford cars. A wild card, Michael Caruso will be lining up outside Scott Pye. Christian Lungard and Chris Pither make up 15th and 16th on the grid, thanks to Truck Assist. That is your grid for the first of the duels. Half the field, essentially a heat race. So slice that field in half tonight. And this is your chance to race to the front of the field. You've got about 15 minutes to do it.
And we're going to gauge how the race is going to be. So it depends on whether or not the drivers see the outside line work, the middle, is the bottom going to work during the race today. This is all a learning curve for them because a lot of them would have done packed racing with about 2 or 3 teammates. How many of them have done pack racing with about 15, 16 cars around them? All
right, let's check in with Macaulay Jones tonight. Macca, we're talking about teammates right now. You've got a few of them. How are you guys going to work together in these duels?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot to play for tonight. I think we haven't really done too many laps as a team other than just before, and it was a whole lot of fun. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of understeer and oversteer, and it's you're going to have to give room, that's for sure.
Have you found that spotters are more important than ever now that we're running on ovals?
Oh, 100%. I think you don't have a whole lot of peripheral in the iRacing, so your spotter's going to be pretty important here. So I've got mine in the background. He's going to be a big help. And then I got the boss, Brad, giving me some tips. He loves a good oval race.
Yeah, he was a bit of a champion back in his day. So can you channel any of Brad's old Oscar experience?
Oh, I'm definitely channeling my inner Oscar from him. He's in the background here giving me some advice. Make sure you lift in the mid corner to stop the understeer. And yeah, he's getting right into it.
All right, best of luck. We've got another guy from Albury and Jordan Boys out there tonight as well. So plenty of Albury being represented. Michigan International Speedway. Plenty of history at this place dating back to the 60s and has become the home of NASCAR around this part of the world as well now. They've run IndyCar back in the day. That was a cool formation finish, and Barney flagging that one down. The track was actually purchased by Roger Penske at an auction in the 70s. Has an amazing history. Some of the best names in international speedway have run at Michigan. And tonight we're going to test it out in the supercars world to see exactly what a supercar race would look and feel like around here. And again, we're going to try this really different Armor All qualifying dual system where half the grid are going to go out and race right now. And that is how they'll line up on the inside rows for the race today. So all of the inside positions on each row are about to be sorted in this Armor All duel for the grid.
And just, is that James
Courtney getting a little bit racy on pit lane straight away.
So this is exactly how they'll do it in the NASCAR Cup Series. They have 2 races here in the Cup Series each year. That's the highest level, obviously, of NASCAR oval racing for stock cars in the US, and it's one of the most exciting tracks to race on because you can run so many lines, so many grooves around here. In the evening here, the conditions are going to be very cool. Track is frozen, 18-degree track temp Celsius. And here is the formation lap. Obviously a rolling start at the ovals. You don't want to do a standing start. We saw some hilarious antics over the past few weeks of a few of our supercars field try a standing start at Daytona on the both the roval and the oval, and that didn't turn out well at all.
There is actually a road circuit at Michigan as well, which runs, I think, south of the track. It doesn't get used in the similar vein that Daytona does or anything like that. It was partly designed by Sterling Moss as well, so it has a huge pedigree. This is the fastest track on the NASCAR calendar. They don't run restrictor plates here, so by the time you arrive at turns 1 and 3, you are hauling the mail. It's going to be very quick. This is the first of the duels to sort the grid. This is how they'll line up on the inside of the grid tonight. Green flag at the ready. Shane Van Gisbergen and Lee Holdsworth are going to lead us to the green behind the pace car. LeBrock, McLaughlin, Kostecki and Winker. Will the teammates find each other? Will we see drama? Damage is off the track. Conditions, well, it's cold and fast. Sun setting in Michigan. About 70 minutes south of Detroit. Barney the flagman holding the green aloft. Shane Van Gisbergen and Lee Holdsworth brings the field to the flag, and it is on. Spanning out 4 and 5 wide, and drama already for James Courtney. Never made it to the start line. That could be just about his race done. It's a long way back from there. SVG a leader through turns 1 and 2. McLaughlin working the outside. We're on board with Rick Kelly, staring at the back of Todd Hazelwood. Some new LG signage on the roof for Rick Kelly as they're doing their best to support some local legends. Rick working the bottom of the racetrack through 3. And already, it's find a buddy, find a partner, work together, 15 laps.
And 2 of our championship challengers already holding the front row here. The outside will only work if you have somebody pushing you. There's a lot of grip there, but this is what we find out here in the duel. What's the race going to be like? Will that groove work? You can see the darkened part of the tarmac. That's where all the grip is. The bottom line is quicker during qualifying. Oh, we got an incident
Big
already.
Run. LeBrock around. Davison into him. That's taken out 3 or 4 cars down the back straight. Pither, who had climbed up a few spots, was involved. I think it might have split the 2 BJR cars up as well. It has. And that's a shame for Todd Hazelwood, who had a little drafting buddy there. And so already we've got a 5-car breakaway. And are they going to drive away from Jamie Whincup? It lasted all of about a lap and a half. McLaughlin the leader. Van Gisbergen pushing him. These two are actually working together tomorrow as co-drivers, which is an unusual crossover for these two. Zane Goddard's got himself beautifully placed here as well. He actually pushed McLaughlin to the lead and gives him another bump down the back straight and shows you exactly how powerful that is as they clear SVG.
Doesn't lift out of it though into corner entry, and that's going to open the door for Holdsworth. So 2 by 2 here. Looked like 2 by 2 for a second, but Van Gisbergen finds the door to the top. So spotters will be active on the radio for all these drivers, telling them where's open, how many drivers and how many car lengths are they back from each other. A lot of bump dropping in corner entry. You don't want to do that. That's going to send someone into the wall.
So in trying to help, he ended up hindering the back of McLaughlin. He had a big slide into turn 1. They'll work together down the back straight. Here's the bump.
And this lead group chat, they're running 39-second lap times. Everybody else who was involved in an incident, they're in a second group down the back of the pack. They're about half a second slower. So they're not catching this group at the moment. It looks like these 5 could sort out your first 5 rows of the grid on the inside row, that is.
McLaughlin now on the inside. Goddard to work the back of Van Gisbergen for a few laps. Tries to get him off him in time for turn 1. Has a big wiggle mid-corner. The cars have been getting loose mid-corner way more than they were at Charlotte.
And that's because as soon as the fuel steps out and the tyres start to heat up, you really got to manage the temperatures. This car without fuel on board compared to the 65 litres they start with, it's only about half a tenth to a tenth quicker. So it's not going to give you the utmost dramatic advantage we see at some of the road courses, as there's some lap traffic they won't pick up. Did that look like Jack LeBrock for a second?
It might be putting a lap on. This Courtney could try and hop on the lead pack here and get some mileage, but I think the train went past too quick for him. How about this? 3 wide. Across the stripe. LeBrock on the outside. And Christian Lundgaard, unfortunately, getting caught up in that early moment as well. Back to the leaders. Van Gisbergen gets a tap, goes low. Hazelwood tucks in. McLaughlin all the way to the fence.
So this is turn 4, and like I said, there's 12 degrees of banking. Oh, on the front stretch, McLaughlin, he'll be glad there's no damage enabled, because that would have ended any hope of any speed for him. Up the inside here, Hazelwood down to the apron. This is going to cause some issues.
These two racing like it was the last lap for a moment. Hazelwood was really, really low and lost out with momentum through turns 1 and 2, and will fall back potentially to the back of this pack now. Here comes Holdsworth on the outside. Goddard again pushing and shoving. Moves Van Gisbergen forward. At least, if anything, they're getting a real race simulation of what it's going to be like later tonight.
And at this stage of the stint, Chad, as well, lap 7, the tyres are at their worst, and they're going to plateau from here. So the drivers will have to lift at both corners. We've got 3 wide here for the lead, potentially.
Gee, this has the recipe to come unstuck. Goddard somehow slots in behind McLaughlin. Chased Holdsworth up the track. Big slide for Goddard. He catches it. Holdsworth slices the fence. They need to get back together quickly here. If they can use the slipstream, they might be able to break up McLaughlin and Van Gisbergen. If McLaughlin and Van Gisbergen can work together here, they could drive away from this pack.
I was just about to say that. These two need to be smart. I think Hazelwood's in there, though, to claim the draft. He should catch up with them. You can see him gaining. Look at this visually with your human eye. The Brute military-grade car is screaming towards the top 2, and now he's caught back up to him.
McLaughlin was making no attempt to pass Shane Van Gisbergen that time. His intentions are clear, trying to push the 97 away from the chasing pack, but couldn't quite get the job done. Still working the back of the 97 to give themselves some real estate. Hazelwood's still there.
And why you're seeing McLaughlin poke his nose out of the dirty air of Shane Van Gisbergen is because of exactly that. You don't want to ride straight up behind him through the corners, only on the straights. You don't want to be right up tucked under him like he is now, because you'll pick up so much understeer, and it's like you're trying to steer but the car doesn't want to. That's what it feels like, especially coming out of turn 2, the next left-hander here. The track only has 5 degrees of banking, you can see. Less banking compared to the main straight, and it's so easy to scrape yourself up against that outside wall.
Whoever wins this race will start on the pole tonight for the first race. It's different to the Daytona setup like that, where the front 2 lock out the front row. They are racing for every row in the grid. And the difference between starting 1st or 5th rides on where you finish in this top pack right now.
And obviously no compulsory pit stop during the duels, only during our 3 official races that paid championship points. Todd Hazelwood wants to start on pole here. Remember, this is the inside row. This is for pole position right now.
It's become a 4-car train at the moment. Holdsworth has worked hard to catch the back of Hazelwood, and I think they've officially dropped Jake Kostecki.
Yeah, Kostecki's, what, 7/10 back now on Todd Hazelwood. So you're right there, Chad. You can't even see him in the shot. He's barely in the group there in the back of the pack. So the Matt Stone Racing car for Kostecki is now half a second on the relative times. He'll just pick up a slight toe. And have a look at this, Chad. Kostecki's still there, I reckon. So just as soon as you said that, Kostecki's, I'm not going to say he's heard you or anything, obviously, but he's decided to pick up the draft, and he could link himself up here in a challenge for pole, although he's hardly clinging on. He's hanging off the side of the cliff.
So a good comeback for Jake to catch the back of this pack, if he can get there. His cousin Brody has a huge amount of oval track, well, not a huge amount, but a little bit of oval track experience running in America. He's been spotting for Anton De Pasquale over the last few weeks. Turned out to be a very handy spotter as well. This is tight. 3 to go. Van Gisbergen and McLaughlin on the top. 1st and 2nd in the championship. That was tight with Holdsworth sliding up the track.
Side draft won't work here for Holdsworth. He's trying to tuck in, you can see, but he's going to be forced to the back end of the road. McLaughlin decides to help him here with a draft, although unintentionally. I think he's just trying to make a move on Van Gisbergen. This will be the penultimate lap as they cross the line next time by. Don't forget, it's possible for Shane Van Gisbergen to mathematically clinch the championship this round. It's very unlikely that it'll occur, but we'll keep track of that during the races. And we ride on board with the Brute military grade car, Todd Hazelwood.
2 to go. McLaughlin finally gets a tiny bit of breathing room. Holdsworth to the outside, finds third. Look how quickly that lead evaporates down the backstretch. Who will lead us to the white flag for the last time? Van Gisbergen on the bottom. Still there's a bit of pace at the top, but the bottom is where you want to be coming out of turns 2 and 3.
He almost turned him.
Last lap.
Scott McLaughlin, I think once they start at the front, some of these drivers will be content, Chad, starting down 3rd or 5th or 7th, just using the draft during the race, but looks like Scott McLaughlin wants pole. He wants the clear air here to begin race 27.
It's turned out to be an awesome battle between two of the best. Van Gisbergen loses momentum, and now it's Holdsworth's opportunity. And he moves to the outside of the racetrack, somehow found some room, but there's contact, and now Van Gisbergen makes a move to the inside and takes advantage of that little scrape. Don't write off Todd Hazelwood. He's at the bottom, and he might just be able to use the side draft. Holdsworth comes down and slices him, and it's going to be Van Gisbergen. The pole sitter wins it, and he will start from first tonight. What a race. What a duel. Van Gisbergen with a smile on his face, a cheeky grin from Scott McLaughlin too. Holdsworth had a run, Hazelwood maybe even a better run, but couldn't quite get there. Jake Kostecki fourth in the end.
What a cracker of a finish. Lee Holdsworth came across the finish line, twirling and spinning around. He'll still be dizzy after that.
Tiny gap between Shane Van Gisbergen and Scott McLaughlin, 56 thousandths of a second. Hazelwood did really, really well. Caruso, the big winner, up 7 spots, 14th to 7th. He just gained himself 7 rows. Scott Pye also moving his way up the field nicely, avoiding some of the early carnage. Chris Pither's picked up a few spots as well, so he'll go up half the field. Nicely done, Chris Pither. Jack LeBrock, one of the bigger losers, unfortunately. His great Armorall qualifying effort comes unstuck. And James Courtney had a really unfortunate start, got turned around before we even saw the green flag. That was a lot of fun, and the good news is we've got one more Armorall duel to go. Who's going to start alongside Shane Van Gisbergen on the front row? We'll find out soon.
Have you always wanted to be a supercars commentator? Well, now's your chance, thanks to Shaw, presented by Jans. Head to the Supercars Facebook page tomorrow and post a video of yourself commentating over the Supplied Vision on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtags Commentate the Stars and VASC for your chance to win.
Plenty of action in the first Armorall duel, setting the grid for the first of the races tonight. It was on early and it was on at the end. Holdsworth, Hazelwood getting together, and Shane Van Gisbergen just pipping Scott McLaughlin to win the first race, and he'll be starting from pole tonight. Which driver is going to be starting alongside him? That was the live look, and this is your Truck Assist grid for the second of the duels tonight. Is it going to be anything as cool as that first one? Chaz Mostert will be on the pole alongside Dave Reynolds. Dave looking for his first front row start of the season, and ahead of Anton De Pasquale for the first time alongside Zane Goddard. Andre Heimgartner in the Ned Mustang, and Jordan Boys first of the wild cards in the field tonight. Cam Waters will be out of 7th, always good on ovals and speedway. Fabian Coulthard 8th alongside Macaulay Jones. Be Bryce Ford looking to try and get back some of his hot form. Frosty had his best qualifying performance on an oval back at Charlotte. He's alongside Jack Smith. Mad Mike Witt, yep, doing what Mad Mike does. Although not as sideways as usual as we're used to seeing him. He's alongside Will Davison and Aaron Seton, 3rd generation Seton on the grid. How cool is that? That's your Truck Assist grid. Cool to see the 66 on the Seton car celebrating the year Jack Brabham won the F1 World Championship in a Repco Brabham.
A legend. Jack Brabham of the Formula One world. We talked about Sterling Moss earlier as well. Got a trend for these old school Formula One races. Sterling Moss, by far the greatest Formula One driver to never win a world championship, and a great all-around bloke as well, as we know. Now we begin the formation lap for Duel 2, Chad. So again, we've got a good feel for what the racing's going to be like, not only for this duel, but for tonight that's upcoming. The good news for David Reynolds and Anton de Pasquale, they've got some good mates around them that I think they can work together with here in the early laps.
So with no caution flags happening and no safety cars, the field slowly just fell away in that first one until it was almost last man standing. 3 cars crossing the finish line together after Hazelwood and Holdsworth got together late. There's Zane Goddard in the cool unit-looking car. It's had a couple of tweaks over the last few weeks, adding more and more colour to it. How will Dave Reynolds go here against Anton de Pasquale? Haven't seen Reynolds in front of his teammate too much, but in the last few weeks he has been getting quicker and quicker. He's going to do some Porsche online racing soon as well, so finally embracing the online racing world. Duel 2, this will set the outside of the grid for every single row. So if you win this one, you will start outside row number 1 alongside Shane van Gisbergen. Every position you gain is a row forward on the grid for tonight. Every position matters as we get set to go green in a second duel. A little bit of awkwardness at the back of the grid, and it's Chaz Mostert with a really good start, but that advantage is going to be gone before he even gets to turn 3. Watch for the 2 Penrite Racing cars try and work together. No teammates working together in that last race at the end. Find some buddies and work with them. Jordan Boys, this is a daunting experience for a wild card. Can he channel his inner Terry Wyhoon, his team boss? Exceptional back on the ovals back in the day.
Daunting, but a great experience for Jordan Boyce. Virtual or real. So an uneventful opening lap, which is what you want to see if you're a driver. The 2 Penrite cars certainly need to do their best to work together, although Davey Reynolds now trying to work with his teammate in Anton de Pasquale. Between them, you can see it's Zane Goddard, Chaz Mostert on the outside right now. You can't run on your own here. It's just not quick enough. Single file is going to be the quickest way to run. These cars going double file, obviously it's early laps. All trying to sort out positions here as we see Mostert into the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, got a huge amount of understeer and climbed up towards the fence. No damage, so gets away with it. Still a big pack for now. Heimgartner has a peek around the outside.
You can see that the front end of Heimgartner is actually dipping down, so he might be applying the brakes instead of just lifting off the gas. But the 2 Penrite cars, what a sight. It's like a formation, not a finish, but a formation lap 2. 4 wide potentially?
Yes, that's what we like. 4 wide for the lead in Duel 2. Down to turn 1.
Oh, he's got no rubber up there though, Heimgartner.
Just manages to slot in behind the Penrite Racing cars. Oh, there goes one. It was Goddard. He's out. Into the infield and into the fence. So we lose 1 from this pack, but didn't lose too much more. Still a hefty, angry-looking battle pack.
Cameron Waters, don't forget, in contention for the championship.
Oh, Heimgartner had a huge slide. And you're right, Waters needs to move up the grid. Coulthard lurking here as well. He was awesome at the Charlotte race. Drove his way through the field to be fighting for the win. Finished second there to Shane van Gisbergen. Watching duel number 2 to set the grid in Armour All qualifying tonight. There is Cam Waters. Oh, channeling Robert Whittaker, the UFC fighter tonight with that new goatee.
What a drive though from Anton de Pasquale. Looks like he's got the lead here. We're right on board with Chaz Mostert, who's right ahead here of Cameron Waters. Now you can see Mostert. So de Pasquale couldn't make the outside work. What they do in the NASCAR Cup Series, what they did last year was apply a traction compound to the high line. This track was resurfaced back in 2012, Chad, in the real world. So this is the second version available on iRacing. They originally scanned the track in 2009. And this track works a little bit differently to the one that before the repavement. Before the repavement, you can run high, low, middle, any time of the race. Didn't matter. The low is the best time to run. Heimgartner's turned around.
He had to try and get off the back of Jordan Boys, who was in the fence, and he came down across Bryce forward. That was just unlucky. He gets back into it, but the damage is done, and that is such a shame for Andre Heimgartner. Did Forward survive? Didn't lose out too many spots, so he's lucky.
Down to the apron is Will Davison as well. Will Davison, remember, started near the rear end of the pack here, up 7 spots. And, you know, Chad, these drivers, they might have said, hey, we're just going to take it easy, get a good grid slot. I think they were intending on that, but it's not going to happen this time, by.
So BP Ultimate Replay, it started with Jordan Boys. Slid up the racetrack in turn 2, got in the fence. Heimgartner checked down to avoid him. Forward was there, and how lucky was Bryce Forward not to lose out more than he did.
Forward's running a Dale Earnhardt Jr. line right up close to the wall.
Running the fence. So great drive so far from Jordan Boys to run with this front pack. Now the other important thing is here, Image Racing does have a connection to Penrite Racing, so they're a bit of a satellite team there at Super 2. So there is essentially 3 Erebus drivers in this lead pack. That could really pay dividends late in the race.
Oval racing, got to have your friends around you. As this is the exit of turn 2, which is, you're going to see a lot of drivers hit the wall, as I said. Less banking compared to the main straight. Just pick up so much. It's not mid-corner understeer, it's exit understeer. Remember, no braking required around Michigan. Just a lift at this point of the race. The tyres now at lap 7 are at their worst as well. So the drivers, without any throttle control, the rear end will skate and they could spin around into the fence. So they've got to lift and manage the steering with their right foot, left with their hands.
Fabian Coulthard looks so at home on ovals in this simulator world. He's been driving really nicely so far, as he did in Charlotte. Now Mostert's having to slice up and down a little bit here and pick a line. He goes low. Jordan Boys working with Anton De Pasquale to try and get the Penrite Racing car to the lead. Waters working with his old buddy Chaz Mostert.
And so a lot of these drivers aren't really experienced around ovals, so they're all learning here as well. It's a learning curve. And you see, this is why they're so aggressive. You don't really see this all the time in stock car racing. These drivers here want to start up the front. And that's the vibe that we're getting right now. Nobody wants to sit in the draft during the race with where all the madness is down the back of the pack. One accident can take you out of contention. It'll be 6 laps to go this time by.
If you get this wrong in this lead pack right now, it could cost you so dearly for the first race. You could be looking at a front 2 or 3 rows for this first race tonight. If you make a mistake here, you could be starting outside the top 25. High risk, high reward stuff. That's what's cool about these duels. Mostert has been hanging on to that front few spots for a few laps, but now it's Anton De Pasquale. Clear leader going through turn 2. If we throw ovals and a brand new qualifying format and still get Shane Van Gisbergen on the front row with Anton De Pasquale, I will be amazed.
I think it goes to show oval requires a level of skill. It's not just about turning left. There's strategy involved. The margin for error in ovals is less than road courses too. In ovals, one mistake can set you back 20, 25 spots. You've got to be precise. There's so much more to it than people realize.
Mostert moving up the track despite the fact that he had Waters for company. Saw Anton De Pasquale on a real charge. Looked to block that high line. He's been really defensive so far. Started on the front row and hasn't fallen back from those front 2 or 3 spots. Jordan Boys has been on the outside of the racetrack for about the whole race. And Will Davison has been chipping them off, one by one. Up 8 spots. Driver of the night so far, Will Davison.
And this is Michigan for you. This is why this circuit was picked. You can run many lines around here, like we said, up to 3, 4, up close to the wall, 5 lines even. You can go 4 wide across the main straight, which is what we saw earlier. And now almost a bit of contact between Mostert and Anton De Pasquale. Will the top work through the corners? If he gets a push, he should get the exit through here. And he does. Gets the exit with the push.
There's that nervous moment when everyone falls into line because everyone's car naturally moves up the racetrack.
There was no help for Cameron Waters. He was a sitting duck there up there at the bottom. So Waters needs to find some friends around him, otherwise he could start a few rows back than he intends. Remember, he's got a championship to win too, despite only winning 1 race back at Silverstone.
They might not be officially teammates anymore, but maybe Will Davison could be the saviour for Cam Waters. He's just about on his bumper now. totally different style of racing to what we're used to in Australia. Yes, it's motor racing, but it's like the difference between rugby union and rugby league. When you get down to it, they're totally different games. A bit of bumping and shoving in the background as Reynolds and Fullwood got together.
And Anton's lost his mate, and David Reynolds, his teammate and mate, as they run very high up here. It's the top starting to work. They're running higher than the groove right now. This will be 2 to go as they cross the line.
11-car pack from Anton De Pasquale all the way back down to Mark Winterbottom. 2 to go. Surely there's no way we finish with an 11-car pack. Coulthard in the fence, sliding through turn 1, gathers it back up. Still, Chaz Mostert paces this field. Waters with a run on the bottom.
They're breaking away here from the 3 behind. So the 3 behind need to work together here on the run to turn 3. Forward's getting a bit impatient, trying to shove Macaulay Jones into the pack. White flag this time by.
Todd Hazelwood ran at the front last duel. Now it's Macaulay Jones, who has been slowly working his way through this lead pack. Last lap, Forward was really good at Charlotte late in the race. What's he got? Mostert the leader. De Pasquale tucked in behind Waters. Forward works the bottom, but will naturally slide up at the exit of 2. They're 3 wide in the mid-corner.
Will Mostert block the top? That's going to stop Anton De Pasquale claiming pole position. He doesn't block the top.
Forward with a huge run. And he's got his teammate to work with. Does he go to the inside of Mostert? He does. And it's Macaulay Jones, the new leader. So Forward tucked in behind him, and it was Jones we're on board with, and there's contact. Mostert sideways. Around goes Davison in the background with Reynolds, and it's going to be a drag race to the finish. Macaulay Jones below the stripe, crashing and wrecking across the finish line with Jordan Boys, and it was De Pasquale, I think,
Yes.
that just held onto it, and somehow we get an SVG. De Pasquale front row. Macaulay Jones with a great drive late to get himself into the action, and he'll start on the 2nd row tonight. Mostert relegated to 3rd ahead of Forward. Jordan Boys drove well. Cam Waters lost a lot of rows on that last lap.
And we still got a front row of Shane Van Gisbergen and Anton De Pasquale. What a finish again for Duel 2.
How cool is that? That is certainly one way to sort out a grid. And after all of that, look how tight it is.
That was 4 100ths of a second between the top 2. But you saw Anton get the run on the outside, Chad.
Yeah, how about Aaron Seton off the back of the grid, gets up 5 rows. That's a great drive from the wild card. Mark Winterbottom picked up 3 spots on that last lap alone, and that was a huge drive. Zane Goddard, how did he get himself back into that? I'm not even quite sure. He was at the back of the field and in the fence on lap 1 or 2. Great drive from Zane Goddard to save that effort. Mad Mike out the back of the pack. Dave Reynolds was there the whole race. And then on that last lap, he and Will Davison got together. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. That was really, really cool fun. And that has sorted out our grid, the BP Ultimate results, setting the grid in Armour All qualifying with a couple of duels. And what a cool place this is to race with the Supercars. Michigan International Speedway. We're in the Irish Hills of Michigan. And that was the first moment in the background.
So Davison picked up understeer and collected Reynolds. Reynolds was a sitting duck. And is that Cam Waters? Yeah, straight into, that was Jordan Boyce. So Waters and Boyce across the line together, spun around, bit dizzy, and luckily, Chad, no damage, because they got to run these cars in the real world in 20 minutes. But luckily, with no damage, they get to go straight out there.
That was a lot of fun. Saw a huge smile on Macaulay Jones' face that whole time. Great chat, great time for a Cooper's Live chat with Macaulay Jones.
Yeah.
And, mate, that was an awesome
man,
drive. Talk us through that last lap.
It was good fun.
You had a huge grin on your face.
Yeah, I got the boss in the background. He's encouraging me down the inside. But it's yeah, it's cool. I love the oval racing. It brings out some really close racing, and yeah, it's good fun.
How would you describe it to someone who's new to the sport? Because it's totally different to what we do in Australia. Is it like learning a completely different sport altogether, racing on an oval?
Oh, for sure. I think there's a lot more tactics involved, and you know, it's like everyone's going the same pace, and then once you get in the front, it's kind of just try and block and make sure no one's getting past you. But it's all about strategy and try and find the right line. I mean, there's so many lines you can take. It's not just like driving around in a circle, really.
And you've earned yourself the outside of row number 2, so that's a pretty good result.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. It's good. You know, didn't have the best quality run, but yeah, it's good fun. I love the ovals, so hopefully starting up the front, you can sort of race hard and be there at the end.
Well done, mate. Up 7 spots from where you started. So let's go from one famous Aussie motor racing name to another. Cooper's Live chat with Aaron Seton tonight. Hey, really cool to have you in the Repco car tonight with that involvement with DJR Team Penske. How'd you find that duel?
That duel was awesome. It was good fun there racing with Mike and Jack, and I really enjoyed the opportunity from Repco and DJR Team Penske to be on the grid tonight.
You've got some real speedway experience. I've seen you run at Archerfield before. Any of that helping tonight?
Dirt and asphalt speedway is a little bit different, so I'm just getting used to the toe and enjoying every moment.
Obviously, it's not the real world of supercars, but your first chance to get out there and grid up against some pretty big names tonight. You're pretty excited for that?
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing to be able to represent my family in supercars for the first time, even though it's virtually. It's a great opportunity from Repco and DJR Team Penske. So really thankful for it.
Really cool to see Aaron Seton, Trans Am champion, here tonight. Go get him tonight, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we are headed towards 3 huge races tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Michigan is the location for the whole way through. It was thrown out to a driver vote, and not unanimous, but certainly an overwhelming vote to stay at Michigan.
And I think it reduces the practice for the drivers as well. A lot easier to learn an oval, and it's going to be good fun as well. We're going to have a 2 cracking races, the same format for races 27 and 28 of the championship, and then 29 will be a thriller. Strategy involved in that one compulsory pit stop for all of them, Chad. And I think this could, and we were discussing this off air earlier, this could change the championship for some guys at the top. It could help guys from the bottom climb up and become a dark horse. This will really help the likes of Cam Waters, who's a dark horse for the championship at the moment.
Yeah, he's got some work to do. What will it play off from the effect of Shane Van Gisbergen, your points leader? There's Mad Mike. He's got an identical sim next to that one for his 12-year-old son to do drift battles against him. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
That's nice.
Running for Next Level Racing. There is Anton Di Pasquale, who just snuck in a win in the duel and will be starting alongside Shane Van Gisbergen. Those two, it doesn't matter what qualifying format, clearly we throw at them. Andre's brought his buddy, Christian Lundgaard, over to run tonight, who's an aspiring Formula One driver to be, hopefully.
Either he's on social media or looking at telemetry, Chat. I'll pick the latter just to make him look good for Kelly Racing.
Nice. So great to see him here tonight. And also Lee Holdsworth had a really strong run earlier, racing at a dream simulation. Scotty McLaughlin's ready to go. They're all ready to go. Jess and the boys are ready to go as well. It's the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series. We've got 3 big races for you tonight. Just about to go live, so don't go anywhere.